everyone, I welcome you all to today's class. It's me, Ankita Pokharel. Today we are going to learn an exciting topic, and that is all about writing an email followed by using the capital letters and full stops in a proper way. Let's begin the class now. So kids, today we are going to learn how to write an email. An email is like a digital letter you send to someone through the internet. Let's break down the steps together. Let's go to step 1. And the step 1 is subject line. So what's subject line? The subject line is like the title of your email. It tells the recipient what your email is about. Recipient is the receiver of your email, okay? So what does the subject line tell? It tells the recipient what your email is about, okay? Please remember that subject line should be very specific and precise. It should not be very lengthy. Now let's write a subject line for our email. So, for example, if we are going to write an email today, sending an invitation to our class party to somebody, maybe to a teacher, then what could be the subject line? The subject line goes like this. So we write invitation to our class party. So we will not write all the details within the subject line, but we'll only let the recipient know what the email is about. All the details are written in the body part. We'll stick up with this phrase for our subject line. Let's move to step number 2. So step 2 consists of the recipient and CC. So the recipient is the person you are sending the email to, like I have already mentioned. And here, if you want to send a copy of the email to someone else, you can use carbon copy. CC means carbon copy. Carbon copy is sent when you want to send a copy of the email to someone else. Okay? For example, it's not just one person you're sending the email to. Then what do? We do CC and write down their email addresses. Alright, let's move to step number 3. So step number 3 is optional because it's BCC. It's optional. We use BCC. So you can use BCC if you want to send a copy of the email to someone without the other recipients knowing. For instance, you don't want to let any of the other people know that you have sent a copy of your email to someone else. So what do? You use BCC. If you use this option for writing down the email address, other people are not going to know who are the other people that you have sent the email to. BCC is known as blind carbon copy. Now let's move to step number 4. Step number 4 comprises of greetings. So once you have decided who are you going to send the email to, once you have decided what is going to be the subject line, now you start writing the greeting. Greeting is something like saying hello or dear or something, okay? Let's write an example. Since we already have decided our subject line, let's write the greeting for the teacher. So what do we write for teacher? We say dear teacher. Okay, so let's move on to step number 5. Step 5 is the body. Step 5 is the body of the email, and the body is the main part of your email. Here you write your message, okay? You write your message, and please remember that the message should be clear and concise. In the body, you have to be very careful to write down a clear and concise message. Let's take an example of writing the body of an email. As we have already decided our subject line being the invitation to our class party and we are sending it to a teacher, so the body goes like this. I'm writing to invite you to our class party next Friday. We'll have games, snacks, and lots of fun. Please let us know if you can come. So since we are inviting a teacher to our class party, which is scheduled for next Friday, we wrote a concise message. Okay, so this is the body of our email. Now we move to the next step, and that's step number 6, which is closing. The closing is how you end your email, and it's something like saying goodbye. So let's write an example for our email's closing. Thank you for considering our invitation. Let's move on to step 7. And step 7 is the signature. Signature is where you write your name at the end of the email. Okay, let's write an example for signature for our email that we have been composing. Since we are writing this to our teacher, and our email writing sincerely, a comma, and our name. Alright, the last step is reviewing and sending. Before sending your email, you have to review it carefully for any mistakes, and once you're sure it looks good, just click the send button and your email reaches to the desired person. Now you know how to write an email. Remember to follow all these steps every time you write one, and always remember, practice makes us perfect. Okay? Now we shall write the same email in a complete form using the given steps outlined in the teaching script. Okay? Let's begin. As we had already decided our subject line, we write it as invitation to our class party. What was the next step? The next step was finding out the recipient, right? So since we are sending it to one of our teachers, we write teacher@example.com. Alright, let's move on to doing a CC. How do we do it? For example, we are CCing this copy of the email to one of our friends, one@example.com. And if we desire sending it to more of our friends, let's say we're sending to one more, so what do we do? friend2@example.com. So these are the email addresses. We are assuming these email addresses. Okay, now let's go with the next step. And the next step was, yes, it was the greeting part. What do we write here? Since we are sending it officially to our teacher, we're writing dear teacher. Okay, body was already decided, so we are going to write down the body again. I'm writing to invite you to our class party next Friday. We'll have games, snacks, and lots of fun. Please let us know if you can come. Now, once we are done with our body, what was the next step? Yes, it was the closing part. And how do we do it? The closing part. Thank you for considering our invitation. Okay, and lastly, we leave our signature. And what had I told you? What are we supposed to do before we send? Yes, before sending, make sure to review the email for any mistakes, and then only click the send button when you're ready. Here's your assignment for the topic. I'm about to provide you with a scenario, and then you need to write down an email accordingly. You need to inform one of your friends about an upcoming absence from school for 2 days. Write a friendly email explaining the reason for your absence and asking your friend to send the assignment you would miss during the absence. So students, remember to apply all the principles of good email and include all the steps that we have learned earlier. How did your class go today? If you have any suggestions or feedback, feel free to reach out to us at learning@dearwalk.edu.np. See you in the next class with another lesson. Thank you.